Hey guys, welcome back to Chaotic TV. You're watching more selected games from Group D, this time, of IronSquid Chapter 2, which picks up again in 6 days. So on the top left of Ohana, just to get right into things, we have the Blue Protoss playing for Team SK Gaming. He is MC. His real name is Minchol, so it's just his initials. And in the bottom right, we have the Red Protoss playing for Team Startail. It is Parting, the Blizzard World Champion. And we're here to bring you their best of 3. Now, to be honest, this is a re-record, because yesterday when I was starting and stopping the stream, I forgot to re-record. I forgot to hit record, and Eclipse got kind of laughing at me for 5 minutes after the second game when I realized it. So we have the third game already recorded, but there was another 4 hours of casting after that. So this game is still, it's renew, yeah, R-E-N-E-W to me, because I don't remember exactly what happened. So I'll give it to you as new as I can, essentially, without any spoilers. And right now, we're going to have to wait until after the cybernetics core to see what these two players are doing. Neither player is taking gas. They're, as you can see, their gateways are the exact same. Gas is coming down for Parting right now. Let me put that nameplate on for you. And they're both going to scout the middle. Exact mirror times, pretty much passing through the middle at the same exact time. And again, pylons, you just look at this production tab and it's the exact same all the way through. Gas being finishing up for both players, as I mentioned earlier. And there's a lot of difference in between these in PvP, as Eclipse was saying yesterday when I wasn't recording, that the recent, or not recent, but long ago Warpgate patch fixed, and I'm going to cough real quick. Apologies, my cold is coming back with a vengeance for some reason. But anyway, PvP is now a bit different than it was. It's not just Warpgate against Warpgate, with, or 2 Stalker Zealot versus 2 Stalker Zealot. The person with the best micro wins the entire match. There are plenty of things you can do as Protoss v Protoss now that you couldn't do before. Rarely do we see air, but still we see things like very late game Protoss versus Protoss. And I remember for the first time I ever saw a very late game Protoss, which was more than 3 bases, was on a Daybreak, and it was with Rain, and I have to say Squirtle, but I'm probably wrong. It was another Star Trek player. It might even have been Parting. But Rain, I think, is the master of all late game PvP, because with his Colossus positioning and his just sheer ability to have the perfect composition of Immortals, Colossi, and Archons, and reinforcing with those Zealots that you always see, then he has yet failed to lose an extreme late game PvP, in my viewership at least. He's probably lost a couple that I've been unable to view. Now the differences between these two players right now is that we have 2 gateways out for Parting and a Twilight Council coming down for MC, where Parting does not have one yet. And we're seeing a little Stalker battle in the middle right now, but they're just each going to go to their own corner, and this probe right here might put down a forward pylon for MC to do some early aggression. Yes, I think he's definitely hiding this for later. So MC is retreating to his base, and Parting is in his own base, but he has this sentry composition right now, and we see DTs coming out for MC at this very back, and I should have noticed that from that early Twilight Council. But we have 2 more gateways coming down at the end of the Warpgate research, which is very common for Protoss players. They wait until the end of Warpgate to throw down a number of gateways, because before Warpgate finishes, it's really not economic to have a whole bunch of gateways down that you're not producing from. And we see a robotics facility coming out for Parting, so if he drops an observer, he's definitely going to be able to catch all of these DTs off guard. And the robotics facility is going to finish much further ahead of the Dark Shrine, and I think MC is going to be out of luck with this push. Again, I don't really remember this game, because the 5 other players that we cast after this in the IronSquid group stage. We're trying to bring you as many as we can before IronSquid picks up again in about 6 days on the 12th of January. And it is a European tournament, so a lot of people don't get to watch it live. So we want to give it to you in as much VOD format as you can possibly get. Now, each player has a Nexus out in the middle. Parting's finished a little while ago, and he's already getting about half saturation on it, and he still needs another 8 probes before he has full saturation, or at least 90% saturation, because going up to 24 does get you the slightest of increases in economy, but it is not as economic to have 3 full bases of mineral gathers at 24 apiece. Now the DTs did come across the map, and one is in each the natural and the main base, but the observer will have coming back right now. It's in the middle of the map. I think I might have scanned over it, but I was talking too much. The DTs did come into the map, but the observer came out far before it and was tracking through this area right here when the DT came by along this route. And then he just had to bring it back and kill it. So he lost about 5 probes to MC, but this observer is going to kill off this DT with a force field trying to trap it a little bit, and they're just waiting for the observer to catch up. And a robotics facility is actually coming down for MC right now, as well as Blink, which is going to give him a little bit of an edge in the early game. It doesn't really help so much in the late game composition, because you don't see as many stalkers in the extreme late game PvP composition, but Parting is already ready for a Blink play because he's got this pylon up here, and MC would normally bring his Blink stalkers in right here and use the high ground vision from the observer to blink into the main and do some harassment, maybe snipe a key tech building like a robotics support bay or even a Templar archive or something like that. But since this pylon is here, he's going to deny everything on MC's part for blinking into that main base. Now Parting could do the same thing, but he has no blink coming in. He is going straight for that late game composition, and a big snipe on the observer by MC with his own personal observer, and this forward pylon did come down for MC, and that's exactly probably where the DTs were warped in. And that's why the observer moving out into this middle of the map missed it. They're tracking coming from this way. But there's no more DTs on the map. He's probably actually going to use DTs later to morph into Archons if he's low on gas and he wants to save his 25 gas here and there. But Parting is, as I said, going for that late game composition right now. He's already bringing in the Immortals, and he's getting his robotic support bay, bringing down another number of gateways to use up some of his extra minerals. And we have some upgrades going down for MC right now. He's the first one to bring in upgrades. We don't see a little supply block right now by MC killing off that forward pylon, and still more posturing out in the middle, doing a little bit of contain on MC's part. That's a cough again. Looks like there's going to be a snipe on that observer, but Parting is very safe with these 3 Immortals, and this observer right here is getting a great view of the composition coming in, as well as those 3 warped-in zealots. And MC could use this time to jump in, but by the time he got in, all of these Immortals could get up here and snipe him off before his 20-second cooldown on the blink was done, that he could get back and off of the cliff. And we do have another observer coming out for Parting, and it's probably going to see MCs right here. And yes, there's the snipe on MC's observer. So these 2 players are still about at the same spot. They ended up at the exact same spot, but the difference is that Parting is going for a second robo a little bit earlier, but they are both going into that late game Colossus type play, each building up a number of pylons to extend their supply, and the 3rd base could come down for MC just a little bit ahead of Parting, but it looks like he's on his way to maneuvering. There it goes, the 3rd base drops down for Parting, and these 2 players are again even up. Double Colossus production, going for Parting right now, where MC is got to catch up on it. He's going for a little bit of a different composition, it looks, since he only has the 1 robotics bay, robotics facility. He's going for an extreme number of zealots, which you usually just reinforce with. You don't bring them, you don't have them ahead of time. It's not something I'm normal to do. extra immortals for parting are going to do a lot of damage, especially with this extra Colossus production, and the Twilight Council actually does come down for parting because he wants to get those charge lot legs, zealot legs, or charge lots, because they are also important because you need to get in close as a zealot and get to the Colossus. Oh, that's interesting, they both put a pylon down just out of vision of the other one. But you need the zealot legs to get in close before the Colossi cut you down, because 5 Colossi will just melt an entire batch of zealots, and these stalkers are doing what they can to get away from all of those Colossus. But Parting knows that he's behind, MC knows that he's behind right now in the Colossus production. So we might see him drop another robotics bay, robotics facility right there, and he's getting a Templar Archives just so he can start building more Templar, so that he can start morphing some Archons. And a Templar Archive also comes down for Parting. So they are both heading towards that very late game, not so much harassment going on by each player, and MC will start catching up with Parting's double Colossus production. Right now the count is at 3 to 5, with 6 Stalkers apiece, just enough to pick off 4 pylons, and Parting still has a very forward pylon as well as MC having one, but MC's got a little bit more map control with this Observer and pack of Stalkers just running around. But the upgrades are a little bit ahead for MC, and that may prove very useful later in the game, but we see a huge number of gateways coming down for Parting that we haven't seen for MC. I wonder what the count is. We see 8 gateways here for MC, and I guess 8 gateways here for Parting, or 9 gateways here for Parting, and another 2 more coming down. So 11 total. So Parting has a little bit of a reinforcement edge, but MC has a little bit of an upgrade edge, and if he decides to attack before Parting's upgrades catch up, then he will be doing just fine and take full advantage of that, because literally in mirror matches, upgrades are the bread and butter of all of these players, and Parting has put down a huge number of forward pylons. A forward pylon by MC getting scouted right now by Parting, and it looks like he may take these Stalkers up there to snipe it right now. Parting is not hit maxed yet, but MC has, and MC might start moving across the map just to put the pressure on Parting, who has a pretty decent late game composition right now with 3 Immortals and 7 Colossi with 2 more coming, 8 Colossi with 2 more coming, and 6 Colossi on MC's part. So the early battle might be in Parting's favor. MC having all these Zealots will do a lot to stop the Immortals from sniping off MC's Colossi, but both the AoE damage from these Colossus and the Archons will do a huge amount of damage to MC's Zealots that will just, I think it'll melt them much quicker than he thinks it'll happen. But we do have a Warp Prism coming in. Parting is going for the stationary Warp-in pylons all around the map, but MC's going for Warp Prism to do some mobile reinforcement, and we see a little bit of a Zealot walkthrough for Parting, and MC comes back to take it. But again, we see the pylons just in the main, or just out of vision of each other. Parting goes to clean that up himself. A little bit of a kill right there by another forward pylon, and MC's Stalkers have been cut down in half. 4th base coming out for Parting. That might be a huge economic edge if he can never get it up, but it looks like MC's already on his way to go attack it. I had to take a drink of my Coke Zero there. It looks like we might actually have a little bit of a skirmish in the middle of the map. The Zelnaga Tower being taken by Parting, and all of these Zealots right now are being attacked by the Colossus. And they really need all the Colossus step forward, and the Zealots aren't even there. The Archons are all melting the Zealots, and you just see the supply of MC shrink with 9 reinforcing Zealots right here. The Colossus are all over the place, and supplies all even out. You see 16 Colossus on the map, and they're just target firing each one on MC's part. They're just AI targeting on Parting's part, which means they're not exactly doing the most efficient targeting. But these 2 Immortals are doing a hell of a amount of damage to MC with the reinforcing Zealots, though. You see how quickly Zealots are melted by this number, by only 5 Colossi, and that Immoral gets the snipe off of one of MC's Colossus right there. But you see ground armor level 1 coming in for MC, and you do not see it for Parting. Parting has 3/3, or has 3 damage upgrade, but so does MC, but MC is getting that extra armor, which may prove oh so important. Both players coming in with a large number of Archons to reinforce instead of just that very huge amount of Zealots on MC's part. MC already having a larger supply, and they're both at the exact same probe count, 64 to 68, not exact same, but close enough. It's 1 Archon off. So the upgrades are going to be in MC's favor in about 10 in-game seconds, and MC might be looking to take his own 4th, but these forward pylons may prove useful for harassment techniques on Parting's behalf. It looks like both players are going for max skim before they meet up in the middle of the map. Parting is taking the economic lead. He has a little bit of an income advantage, at about a third more than MC does, but MC is already close to max. It looks like he's being a little bit more efficient in his usage of his resources, and Parting has lost about 1,300 more resources than MC has over the course of this game. Now we're going to have a little bit of looks like a rather large skirmish right now, but MC has the upgrade advantage. We're going to see that come into full play. Right now the Archons don't exactly have all that much armor, but these Zealots have plenty of armor, and that's going to be totally useful against the Colossus. The counts right now is at 8 to 7 in MC's favor, and they're going to do their damage, target firing all of these Archons. You see them melt. The supply right now is 179 to 120 in MC's favor, and Parting is on the run right now, losing his 4th, and MC is just tearing through the enemy Protoss. The red player is definitely on the back foot right now, trying to reinforce what he can. He doesn't have enough money to do much. He's only bringing in 1 Archon, and he's got a pretty weak Colossus right now, and he's got one out in the middle of the map that could have been sniped. But the Colossus count and Archon count is definitely in MC's favor, being up by 30 supply in the army, and you just see that he's going for the concave. Parting is, but the target fire by MC will definitely take out these Colossus before they can do anything. These 2 Colossus that are down in the red are definitely going to be sniped off as quickly as possible, and look at that. Parting is down 60 supply, and he taps out in Game 1 on Ohana. So from Chaotic TV, apologies for the voice of death and the coughing and stuff like that, but I hope you enjoyed the game, and we will bring you Game 2 in just 1 second. Cheers.